is how we do.
We keep on rocking. Just come on, shake it, baby, baby, baby. Shake it, mama, shake it, mama, shake it, mama.
As far as if you're at home, right, and you're allowed to have weapons in your house, correct? And the problem that I have with this weapon situation is the sleeper is their house. You know, you got trucks. They have 180-inch sleepers back there, kitchens, everything. You know, so but it's just unfair that the rules apply to that too. You know, the sleepers, your sleeper brother, it's your home. You know, and so I would think they need to start putting some rules in play that in the sleepers, different rules than behind the wheel of a truck.
I
You know,
agree.
because that is your home and you live there.
Right,
And everybody has a right to self-defend themselves.
right. But I mean, I've gone through that. And I actually asked a few sergeants, I went to lieutenant, I went to Sacramento, asked the question, because in reality, the whole truck, that's private property. So you just can't, even us inspectors, you know, enforcement, we are not allowed to go up, open that door unless we are asked. Or we have to ask first, hey, do you mind if I open your door? You just can't open it. And all of them agreed with me that that's like you going to the officer's house and just opening the front door and saying hi. No, that's why you roll down the window, you can hand out the logbook, and then the thing is, they told me, I said, well, what about if they're in a big parking lot? And they said, what came up is the safes inside the trucks. And they said, well, if we hear that we respond that gunfire was heard, and everyone's pointing, say it's coming from that truck, then now they have probable cause to go and search and find. And so that way. But as far as, I mean, when I was inspecting, I would finish up, their trucks are beautiful, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put your sticker on your truck and trailer, and he says, no, thank you. And I said, but sir, you passed, I'll put the sticker on. He goes, no, I'll just take the paper, thank you very much. He told me, he goes, Doug, that's like putting a sticker on your house. This is my house, I don't want those ugly stickers on it. And I go, oh, okay, well, that works for me. And other guys have told me that literally, he put his foot up on the step and he says, sir, please, don't step on my doorstep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, that was after a day of inspecting, we're greasy, and I understand. It's like, and you know, hey, I don't want dirt on my doorstep. And, you know, and that's for me, that's where it's like, hey, makes sense. If that's the way you feel, no problem, I can stand right here, just give me everything you need. But one thing you don't want to do is, everything is generated on your attitude. And for me, 95 to 98% of every trucker I ran across, the greatest guys you could ever talk to, hang with, you know, for me though, it was only like 20 minutes, half hour, then I'd never see you again. You know, a few of them every now and then, but for a few of them, you know, if I pulled them in for inspection and they were like, Reza, Freza, mother, Reza, Freza, Reza, it's like, really? Hey, I need this. And, you know, they throw things or they say, you know, you suck or whatever. Then they have to remember the pen is mightier than the sword. And for your attitude, I would show my gratitude and I could keep you at this latitude. Yeah, so, you know, you better have ashes in the ashtray, gloves in the glove compartment. There, you don't, like Rick said, the vehicle code, it's about that thick. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there that, for the most part, you know, is that really, that's not safety. But it can be pulled out of there just to show you that, hey, you know, I didn't wake up this morning hoping you'd come through so I can hammer you. I woke up this morning thinking I'm gonna have a good day. And when I used to go home at night, maybe I shouldn't say that, but when I would go home at night, unfortunately, it wasn't the nice guys, the great guys, drivers, him, her, that I would run across that I would talk to my wife about. I'd get home and say, man, you're never gonna believe this one. Man, he was hot. He was hot. Yeah, so, like I said, it all starts off with, hey, how are you doing today? You're gonna get some, you don't know. The officer, it could be raining, it could be sunny, it could be he got in a fight earlier, it's some you just can't deal with. But for the most part, look, you're doing your job, I was doing my job. It just so happened we came together at that. Now let's separate, and you keep doing what you're doing.
My next question is, when you're at the scales and the trucks are crossing their path, what are they looking for? What's the one thing they're looking for? Is like, we're getting that guy, pull it in.
Well, for the most part, because if you go through scales, you'll see that when the inspectors are standing out there, they're face on with you. And so it's stickers, the stickers in the windshield. That's the first thing. But when you're going also by the scales, you'll see all the windows there. I know we call it the chicken coop, but the windows. And as they're going by, also, if it was my week to sit there and watch the weights and all that, then I would also look at the trucks as they go by. And if I saw like, something wrong, then I would go ahead and say, stop, pull in. Hey, I'd look down, pull into lane 2. And then I'd call down there and say, hey, this guy's got this or that, something's wrong with the truck. But for the most part, the first thing, sticker. If you have a current sticker, it's almost like a free pass. So what you want to do, a lot of guys would volunteer. I know guys don't like to, but volunteering, for me, when guys would volunteer, it's like, look, no reason to hammer if you're going to volunteer. But for the most part, I know there are scales out there, you do not volunteer. Because if you pull in to volunteer, they're going to ream you, they're going to rip you and say, hey, you don't pull into my inspection bay without my permission, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it was just more of you guys volunteered for me, the less I had to go out and find someone in a bad mood.
Wow.
Yeah, so stickers in the windshield, or something obvious, a violation, obvious. I mean, if your truck is leaning at a 45-degree angle, I'm going to pull you in. Yeah, and I've seen it. I mean, you would not believe some of the things I've seen. As the truck was slowly going by me, I looked underneath the trailer. There is the air tank dragging on the ground behind the trailer by the airlines.
Wow.
Just ting, ting, ting. So stop, pull in. And I go, driver, you have a problem? What? What's wrong? What's wrong? So I took him back and he looked and he goes, well, when did that happen? I go, I don't know. This is your truck and trailer. Yeah, so just what I would do is every time you do pull over, every time you have to go take a leak, every time you have to eat something, do your walk-arounds. Check that truck and trailer out. Like Rick said, check your loads. That's a big thing too. Yeah.
A lot of people think that once they get loaded and then they check it, they're clear, they're all good.
Oh, no.
And they don't realize how trucking works. In trucking, anything can change at any single time.
Anytime. Anytime.
And, dang.
Oh, and another thing for you guys is you are always in a good mood. You are always having a great day. Because that's the thing is, this D.O.T. federal book, well, there's things in here that aren't in California. We never dealt with that stuff. But there is a section in this book for logbooks and drivers, and it's also in the CSA book. Driver fatigue, driver ill. So if you're pulled in and the officer says, hey, how you doing? Let me see your logbook. I'm not feeling good. I'm sick. Oh, really? Driver ill, driver fatigue. Now you're out of service. Now you're going to get a logbook ticket. So every time, hey, how you doing today? Even if you're feeling like crap. Oh, I'm feeling great. Thank you, sir. No problem, sir. I'm great. So, like I said, they will use against you what you say. So if you tell them you're not feeling good, driver fatigue, driver ill, boom, right there, they got you. I've seen it. I've seen the guys getting ripped for it. And he goes, yeah, I told him I had a little cough. And he says, oh, you're fatigued or ill? Yeah, 8 points. Wow.
What other thing can you think of like that these guys don't know about that they could tell on themselves about to get them in trouble?
Oh, my. Yeah.
Just a couple of things.
Well, the big thing is do your pre-trip. Make sure, and some guys say, well, I did my post-trip last night. Yeah, but you don't know. I tell everyone, you don't know wherever you pulled into the truck parking, the truck stops or whatever. You don't know where you parked. You might have parked right on a nail. Or in the middle of the night, you don't realize someone came by and decided they needed your outside dual tires more than you did. I've seen that. So
With the truck running.
yeah, with the truck running, no doubt. So make sure, do your pre-trip. And then also, because there's another section in this book that they can write you, we never used to, they can write you for driver failing to do a proper and thorough pre-trip. And what that is if they inspect you and go through and they find, hey, that inside tire is low on air and you got this and that, all you say to them is, really? That wasn't like that this morning or whenever, when I did my pre-trip and started out, it must have just happened. So that's where, instead of like, oh, well, and I hear it all the time, this isn't usually my truck. My truck's in the shop, so that's why I'm driving this one. No, you did your pre-trip, you made sure you are required prior to operation, ensure that vehicle is in safe and proper working order. And so you doing it, thump your tires, check everything. That's the big one. That's huge.
There's a lot of drivers, and they don't want to come in California no more.
Oh, yeah.
There's one guy, he came into California, he got hammered. Same thing, tires and brakes and all that kind of stuff. This lady D.O.T. officer actually got the book out. Give me a minute, I gotta look something up. She actually had the book out, trying to find every little thing on the guy's truck.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, so in closing, Ricky, is there anything you want to say to these drivers look out for on the roads, courts, tickets, anything?
Just stay off the radar. Stay off the radar.
Or out of the bad computer.
Exactly. Stay on the good list, not the naughty list.
Yeah. No.
Treat trucking like Christmas, okay?
Yeah, you don't want a lump of coal in your sock.
What about you, Doug?
Just my biggest thing, reach out. Reach out, get information. In this case where they say ignorance is bliss, not in this case. And also out of service standards, requirements in the D.O.T, requirements in your CSA score is if the more knowledge you know, the less they can hammer. Because my biggest thing on logbooks is, in your remarks section, I was in Los Angeles, CA. Then I went to Lancaster, CA. Then I went to Las Vegas, NV. And then I went to Gallup, NM, Gallup, New Mexico. Well, some of the officers out there say, well, what were you doing here? What were you doing there? Not required. Look in D.O.T, look in Highway Patrol, even in your logbooks, if you look at the back, shows you how to fill it out. All they have there is it starts in Philadelphia, goes to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, and it says driver did this, driver did that. But it only shows where he or she was at. You are not required to tell any enforcement what you're doing. You're only required to tell them where you're at. And some of the officers have come across that, well, I need to make my determination, I need to know what you were doing. No, you have no authority. I only have to tell you where I'm at. Because jokingly, I tell everyone, like, look, I've been married 33 years. So on my logbook, do you want me to tell you, hey, that hour and a half I was with my girlfriend? Well, I don't want my wife to know. So now I have to tell you what I was doing? No, I'm not going to do it. So jokingly, but you are not required to tell them what you are doing, only where you at. But make sure you put where you are at. And you cannot abbreviate the city, town, or village. It has to be Los Angeles. It has to be Rancho Cucamonga. It has to be Fort Collins, not F.T. Collins. But look on your phone, look on your map, what does it say? Because St. Louis, I don't know. Is it St. Louis or Saint? Look on your map. What does it say? Because guaranteed the officer knows. Or the officer will look it up and say, oh, you abbreviated. Woohoo! Logbook ticket. Yeah.
What about fuel? If you're fueling, do you have to put that on the logbook?
Not required. You are not required to tell them what you were doing. Although a lot of my guys, they do like putting fuel because then they'll put how many gallons and how much money they spent. Even though they'll have the receipt, but they also like to put it there too.
So on a bin inspection, do they check fuel receipts so they can't check it against log then? Only if there's a city.
Correct.
So if you fueled in Los Angeles, you pull the receipt and it'll say Los Angeles you fueled. You look on the logbook at the same time, says LA,
Yep.
and you're good.
Yeah. Because I had one guy, it shows on his logbook he was sleeping in Redding, California, but he had a fuel receipt from Phoenix, Arizona.
Dang, he's snitching himself.
Yeah, roughly at the same time. And what happened is he was up in Seattle and he unloaded and he deadheaded. He was supposed to deadhead back to Los Angeles. Well, when he was at the dock, someone told him saying, hey, I got this load. How close are you, where you're at, it was up here, to Phoenix? He goes, I don't know, about 5-6 hours. He goes, look, this load has got to get there. Can you take it? He goes, we'll pay you. He goes, cash. So he took the cash and then just booked, got to Phoenix. Well, then when he got there, well, the boss thinks he's sleeping in Redding, but he's just booking, riding, and he gets out there. Well, greed. Instead of taking some of that money cash and paying for fuel, he pulled out the company credit card.
Wow.
And so now there's a record, and the kicker is the company did not have authority in Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah, they did not have authority, so had he been stopped, that guy's truck would have been, shut down, and then called and said, hey, we got your truck here at the border with Arizona, California. What? No, my boy's just coming back from Redding, California. No, we got him out here. Yeah. So you have to document owners. If you have someone driving your truck, make sure you know where that truck is.
At all times.
All times.
All right, guys, I hope you guys appreciate this video. Again, we're at Texas Cattle Company, Lancaster, California. Like we said in the live feed earlier, that didn't work very well. And, we'll do later on, we'll do more live feeds with Ricky and Doug and stuff like that. We don't want to wear them out on the first interview. And we all appreciate you guys watching. And all this information that you have, is there a way for them to Google or go online and get information to learn about stuff that you have in the books?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just go, you can, Rick's got all my information, and I'll leave more. I have my own, you can email me,
Okay.
and all that stuff.
We're going to be putting that in the description of the videos, guys. So just remember, always try to learn stuff. Don't be the dummy out there, because in trucking, you're a professional. And professional, if you went to the hospital to go see a doctor, doctor, how am I doing? Is my heart okay? I don't know. How would you react? So we are professionals on the road, which means we're supposed to know. So ignorance doesn't help you as far as law goes. So appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.